In this segment, we will discuss location services and cyber stalking. Most of us are familiar with location services. They are what allows, for example, our GPS devices to function properly, our Google Maps and driving directions functions, and as well some of the more fun things like online games such as Pokemon Go, and many of the new social apps and networks depend on and require location services in order to function the way they're intended. So what we're talking about today is social posts and geotagging. Geotagging is basically posting on social media with GPS coordinates embedded. Geofencing is a search of a public area of a geography by public social posts. So that is defining, for example, drawing a grid or a box over an area like City of Belleville or Trenton and seeing the posts that have been shared within that location. Usernames and keywords can also be searched by geography within these tools. And as you're going to see, geotagging and geofencing have impacts on our online safety and our privacy. Some of what you're going to see you may find creepy, but the good news is that the solutions and answers are all very simple, and it's all things that we can easily do. So here's an example of what a bad guy, a tricky person, might try to do. They might define a geofence, as I have done here, of the Quinte region. They are then going to click on the post. You can see a number of different platforms. This tracks 15. Here's YouTube, we have Twitter, we have Instagram, we have Facebook, we have Foursquare, even Russian Facebook, which is this one here. Not many people have seen that one. If I zoom in a bit further, once I'm in this map and I start to click on posts, I find a user that attracts my attention, or what you've probably heard me refer to as the wrong kind of attention. I can begin to click further and refine my search. So now I'm narrowing my searches from a whole city or a region to one area. In this case, we're looking at the downtown Trenton area. And from here, I can continue to click on posts and follow along, refining further. Here's one, a cluster at the friend's house of the user, where they spend time and hang out. And you can see it's actually Twitter and Instagram posts that were shared there. And to go even further, this person can refine the search down to a school, where they can see where the buses get caught, where the phones get checked at lunch, the friend's place they go to after school, their favorite lunch restaurant. And this is obviously bad for a number of reasons. We can see quite clearly, obviously, where this person goes to school, but we can see where they're going to be at specific time frames. So I know, for example, every day by about 4 o'clock they're over here. They go to that place, the house after school. Then I know where they're going to be in between, which would be around this area. So this is obviously not really information we want strangers or potentially dangerous people to know about us. Now, what can happen? By this point here, this particular predator, he might go even further and find things like a house. So what could happen? Obviously, somebody could show up, they could stalk us online as they're doing and simply appear where they know we're going to be and try to abduct us. Another possible scenario would be once we find these posts, as you've seen on the map, and begin clicking through the posts and into the public profiles of the users, throw in a little bit of Google research, we know quite a bit about most people by that point, including the names of their friends, their cousins, their families, even the parents and families of their friends themselves. So another way that they might do this is simply appear at a place they know this person's going to be and try to trick them or lure them into leaving to go somewhere with them. For example, they might say, "Oh yeah, you know Mary. I know you know Mary. You two played soccer together. How's she doing? I heard she had her braces off." "Great. Well, do you know Susan? You don't remember her?" "Well, that's my stepdaughter. She's having a really hard time. I was talking with your mom, Brenda. And oh, by the way, is your dad Dave? He still works at the paper mill, right? Anyhow, she was wondering if you would just come with me. She's going to bring my stepdaughter, Susan, along. And we're hoping you two could have a chat. We think you might be able to help her feel better. So you and me, we'll just head off to Dairy Queen. We'll meet them there, and then we're going to all head off to the soccer game together." And this worked quite often because most people that they would say, was they didn't recognize this man, but they figured they had met him and just forgotten because he knew so much. Yet, all that information is available online through social platforms and Google. This is just another tool. This one I'm searching by usernames. You can see it's not quite as flashy, but it works. It works very well. In this particular case here, I have a post from Loyalist College of me at the science fair with my son. If I copy and paste the link as I've got done here, it takes me to the actual post. And again, and here's an example of where privacy settings are so very valuable. If mine are off, I can click and go through all my profile stuff here and even find adjacent links to my Snapchat, my Instagram, and other social media accounts. So this is a really good example of where privacy settings, really have their worth. Going further, we recognize this. Most of us would know this is Snapchat. So the same rules that apply for social networks, Snapchat, as most of us would know, has a map feature. And what you'd want to do is up here, you just click this and click ghost mode, and that pulls you right off the map. And there's really no reason you'd want to be on this map for everybody to see you. So I highly recommend you do that. In addition, pictures that have never been posted online, never shared, only from my phone to my laptop through a cable, and I can find them on a map. And here's an example of one I took. You can see up here, this is me and my son at Star Wars. You can see this is called metadata. I'm able to extract this from the picture. And if you see down here, GPS position, this is my longitude and latitude. And if I put those into a map tool like this and hit enter, you can see it puts me right at the Trenton Center Theater. That's where the photo was taken. Further, once someone has our location information, we'll go back to that school, you can see the area where they would check the phones, get on or off of the bus. You can see areas where there's less lighting, possibly areas they could conceal themselves. And going to the friend's house, I've zoomed in so you can't see the actual home, but you can see an open house sign on the yard. And simply going to real estate websites where they have pictures of the insides and outsides of homes, I can see old stored versions of this house, and I can see the inside door, the foyer, I can see the decor, I can see the stainless steel fridge and the wine rack and the granite countertops and all this. So this is obviously information that we want to keep out of the hands of people that we don't know or that we shouldn't trust. So what could happen? Here's an example, a real life example. This young lady was raising money for breast cancer, and she was kayaking all around these lakes of northern Michigan, very remote locations. And all along she was posting about where she was and where she was going to be. So she was actually posting and saying it as well as geotagging her posts. And basically the remote nature of these locations, they were hours away from anything. The police investigators determined that it was the social media posts that she was making and geotagging that helped her attacker find her location and made this attack even possible. And thankfully she's okay, but she has certainly given her social media use a rethink, and I strongly encourage any and all of us out there to do the same thing. Now, some good news. First of all, for the map that we looked at in the beginning, it's pretty easy to stay off of that. Simply deactivate location services when you post on social media. And that is done easily. Every device is different, but as I've shown here, a simple Google, for example, like iPhone 8, and you can see the steps 1, 2, 3, and even screenshots. So simply Googling or searching your device with location services, you'll find plenty of screenshots, videos, and step-by-step on how to do it. It's very simple. It's usually 1, 2, maximum of 2 button clicks. You do that, you're not on the map. If you post online and you realize that you had them on by accident, you can simply delete the post, turn off the location services, and then repost with them off, and it comes off of the map immediately. As you saw earlier, those privacy settings on those social network accounts are obviously there for a good reason. So by taking advantage of those, we can go a long way to keep people out of our information, especially people that are dangerous or people that we don't want to know anything about us. Never share pictures or videos with people that we do not know well or that we only know from the internet. It's as simple as this. If we don't share our picture with them or our video, they can't use it to find our location. Similar to social posts. If you if you take a picture or video with the location off, it won't pinpoint your location. And I'll leave you with this. If you were walking from your friend's house to the mall and a random stranger, a 40, 45-year-old guy asked you for a picture of yourself, would you give it to him? Most people laugh when I say that. Would you tell them what you were doing that night? You wouldn't, and you'd laugh when I say that. Yet we do it online, and the statistics are much greater that we're going to encounter dangerous people on the internet than we ever would in Belleville. Belleville's a community of 50,000 people, and it's a safe community. But when we go online, we're on there with the whole world. So protect your pictures, your videos, and your personal information at all times. And this will conclude this video segment.